I paid to fix the shared driveway we both used. The day it was done, my neighbor put up a gate and locked me out. "Thanks for the upgrade," he said. He thought I had no way in until he saw what I drove through his fence that night. I bought my house 4 years ago. It's not huge, but it's mine. Quiet street in Pennsylvania, mostly older folks. The house next to mine was a rental for a long time. Then Marcus bought it last year. He was quiet at first. Worked nights. Kept to himself. I didn't have any issues with him until the driveway. The houses share a long driveway that runs between us. Technically, the driveway straddles both properties. Half on his side, half on mine. No fence, no lines. We both used it. Every day. I parked at the end. He parked closer to his porch. That was the unspoken agreement. Over the years, the driveway got worse. Big cracks, water pooling, weeds pushing through. I'd trip walking to the trash cans. My tires started getting worn. I figured it was time to fix it. I asked Marcus if he wanted to split the cost. He said, "Sure, let me know how much." I got 3 quotes. Picked the cheapest license guy. Came out to $4,800 for the whole thing. I texted Marcus. He never replied. I knocked, he wasn't home. I waited a week. Still nothing. I didn't want to delay, so I paid the full amount myself. The work took 3 days. The crew was fast. They dug up the old mess, laid down fresh asphalt. Looked clean even. Honestly, I was proud. I thought maybe Marcus would come by and say thanks. Maybe even hand me a check. Instead, the next morning I walked out and saw it. A brand new black metal gate stretched across the driveway. Just past the property line on his side. He had someone install it overnight. Fresh concrete, steel post, and a thick padlock right in the center. I couldn't believe it. He was standing there with his arms crossed like he was waiting for me to see it. I said, "What the hell is this?" He smiled. That smug kind of smile. Then said, "Thanks for the upgrade." Just like that. He'd locked me out. After I paid almost $5,000 to fix the driveway we both used, he waited until it was finished, then sealed it off. He didn't pay a dime. And now I couldn't get to my garage without driving through my grass or backing all the way down the street. I stood there frozen. My voice cracked. I asked him, "Are you serious right now?" He shrugged. "It's on my side. My property. You'll have to find another way." I was stunned. I tried talking to him again that night. Knocked on his door. No answer. I left a note. Nothing. I filed a complaint with the township. Turned out, because the gate sat just inside his property line, there wasn't much I could do. It was petty. It was calculated. But not illegal. That's when I got mad. I remembered the old fence in the back. Technically mine. Old wooden thing falling apart in spots. There was a strip of grass that led around to the back of the driveway. Not meant for driving, but wide enough. I didn't say anything. I didn't threaten. I just waited until after dark. I pulled out my 1998 Dodge Ram. Big, loud, ugly, but strong. I drove slowly through my side yard, around the back, lined up the tires, then gunned it. The fence shattered, wood snapped like dry bones. One post cracked in half. I kept going, right over the edge of the lawn, straight onto the new driveway. I parked. Turned off the engine. And just sat there. Marcus came out fast, yelling. I didn't move. I waited until he got close. Then rolled down the window and said, "Looks like I found another way in." He stared at the broken fence, at the tire marks in the grass, at my truck sitting dead center on his side of the line. He didn't say anything else. He just turned around and walked inside. He didn't come out again that night. I stayed parked there for a while, just to prove a point. Eventually, I reversed off the driveway and parked in my usual spot on the street. The next morning I checked the backyard. Fence was totaled. One side was flat on the ground. I figured he'd be calling the cops. But he didn't. Instead, he started leaving trash bags in the driveway, right in the path where I'd parked. He stacked them so they blocked the turn-in for my yard. Next day it was a pair of broken patio chairs. Then a wheelbarrow filled with bricks. Every time I cleared it, more crap showed up. I took pictures. I called the township again. They said it was a civil issue. He was trying to bait me. I knew it. I didn't rise to it. Instead, I got a surveyor. $900 later, I had a full property line report. Guess what? The driveway wasn't just on his side. It was technically 60-40, with the larger side falling on my property. That meant that the section where he installed the gate, not fully his. I sent him a copy in the mail. Registered. I also included a letter. Remove the gate or I'll take it to court. A week went by. Then, 2. Nothing. So I filed in small claims. Not just for the cost of the driveway, but for obstruction, lost use, and the cost of the fence I had to bust through because he blocked the only path I had. Then something weird happened. One night, I came home, and the gate was wide open. No note. No text. No apology. Just open. I thought maybe he was backing down. But when I drove through the next morning, I saw what he'd done. He'd installed security cameras, 3 of them, facing the driveway. One on the tree, one on his porch, and one angled toward my backyard. He was waiting for me to make a mistake. So I did the opposite. I kept my truck parked. I stayed quiet. I didn't use the driveway unless I had to. I kept collecting evidence. Then one morning, I saw him out there with a tape measure, measuring the edge of the driveway. The same spot I'd parked on his side that first night. That same afternoon, I got a notice taped to my front door. Cease and desist, trespassing complaint filed. That's when I lost it. I called the courthouse. The trespassing complaint wasn't an official case. It was just something he filed to intimidate me. No court date. No charges. Just noise. But it got to me. That weekend, I drove out to my brother-in-law's place. He's a contractor. I told him everything. Showed him the photos, the gate, the cameras, the driveway. He just shook his head and said, "You've got to corner him legally. Not with a truck. Not with a fence post." He helped me draft a letter. Real official sounding. Quoted the property line report. Listed every cost I'd eaten. The driveway, the broken fence, the damage to my grass. Attached every receipt. I mailed it with a deadline. Settle this, or I file for damages and demand the gate be removed permanently. 3 days later, I got a letter back. Typed, signed, notarized. From his attorney. It claimed I was the aggressor. That I had willfully damaged his property. That my vehicle entered his land without permission. He wanted me to pay him for the fence, for emotional distress, and for ongoing surveillance costs. He wanted $3,500. It was such a twisted version of events I almost laughed. Instead, I drove straight to the courthouse and filed the claim. Full civil suit. I listed everything. Dates. Costs. Photos. Surveyor's map. I added printouts of every text, every ignored message. Then I did something else. I printed a giant sign. Had it mounted on a post. Stuck it in my yard near the driveway where everyone walking by could read it. Warning. Neighbor locked me out of driveway I paid to fix. Now he wants $3,500. Ask me about it. The next few days were quiet. Too quiet. Then one night I saw lights out back. Not the gate this time. His backyard. Something was happening. I walked around and saw 2 men digging near his fence line. They were installing a second gate, on the opposite side of his property. He wasn't trying to share anymore. He was trying to shut me out entirely. That second gate made everything clear. He wasn't just being petty anymore. He was preparing for something. Maybe court. Maybe worse. The kind of guy who doesn't just win. He wants to erase you. I kept documenting everything. Every day I took photos. The new gate. The blocked driveway. His trash piles. I even bought a dash cam and set it to record the whole time I was parked. Then one day I came home from work and saw spray paint on my fence. Red X marks all down the slats, like someone was planning to rip it out. I knocked on his door. No answer. The next morning, a crew showed up. He'd hired contractors. They started digging on his side, but they were working right up against my fence line. They didn't even speak to me. just nodded like they'd been warned not to engage. I stepped outside and called to them. That's my property. One guy shrugged. We're just following the permit. I asked to see it. He said, you'll have to ask the owner. So I called the city office, asked about the work permit, gave them the address. They said no active permit was on file. That's when I called the cops. They came out and had a friendly talk with the workers. Nothing got shut down, but they did stop digging that day. I got a warning though. If I interfered again without proof, I could be the one in trouble. That night, I found a dead squirrel nailed to my back gate. I'm not joking. No note, no tracks, just the body, nailed through the tail. It was sick. I didn't call anyone. I just buried it, quietly, behind my shed. Then I ordered security cameras of my own. 4 of them. High-res. Motion sensors. I mounted them that night and aimed one straight at his driveway gate. The next morning, I found a pile of sawdust and nails scattered across the exact spot where I drive in. I swept it up. Didn't say a word. 2 days later, I saw him outside. For the first time in weeks. He was standing by the new gate, phone in hand, just watching me. I waved. He didn't wave back. He just took a picture. After that photo, things shifted. He stopped being quiet. Every time I pulled in or out of my driveway, I could feel him watching. Sometimes I'd catch him in the window. Other times, standing just barely outside his porch light's reach. Always with that phone. Always recording. I kept my cool. Didn't say anything. But I knew something was coming. Then one afternoon I came home and couldn't get into my backyard. The gate wouldn't budge. I walked around and saw that someone had padlocked it from the outside. Not my lock. A different one. I had to climb the fence to get in. That was the last straw. I called the police again. Filed a full report this time. Showed them the photos. The damage. The blocked driveway. The fake permit. The dead animal. Everything. The officer took it more seriously this time. Said it looked like harassment. Maybe even criminal mischief. Told me to keep documenting everything, and that someone would follow up. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept going over the timeline. Over how it all started with me just trying to fix a broken driveway. That's what still gets me. I didn't want to fight. I didn't even ask him to pay up front. I just wanted to fix something we both used. Now I had locks on my gates I didn't put there. I had nails in my tires. And I had a neighbor who stared at me like I was the one who started it all. Then came the letter. This time it was from his lawyer again. But different tone. They were offering a settlement. He would agree to remove the gate, drop his claims, and pay me $600 if I signed an agreement saying I'd never use the driveway again. I read it 3 times. He wanted me to walk away. To accept being locked out of my own land. To take a check that didn't even cover 10% of what I paid. I didn't respond to the letter. I didn't sign anything. Instead, I sent my own counter through my lawyer, who I finally hired. She was sharp, mid-40s, no nonsense. Read through everything I gave her and said, he's playing games. But if he wants to go legal, we'll go legal. We sent him a formal response. No settlement unless the gate was removed permanently, the cameras taken down, and full reimbursement paid for half the driveway and my damaged fence. Total? Just under $3,000. We gave him 10 days to respond. On day 7, a delivery truck pulled up and dumped a load of gravel and cinder blocks right at the edge of the driveway, right where my truck usually turns in. No invoice, no name, no explanation. Just dropped and left. Like some middle school version of a blockade. I called the city again. Filed a complaint. Sent them the footage from my new cameras. Later that night, someone egged my truck. 2 dozen eggs. Cracked and dripping. Shells stuck to the windshield. They got in under the hood. I cleaned it up for over an hour. In the dark. Without saying a word. The next morning, I saw a small sign in his window. It said, "Some people don't know where their property ends." That's when I realized something I hadn't before. This wasn't just about the driveway. This was about control. He didn't care about the money. He didn't care about the land. He just wanted to win. And he thought if he pushed hard enough, I'd get tired. I'd quit. I'd sell. He didn't realize I'd been raised by people who never quit anything, who once spent an entire winter fighting a neighbor over a 2-foot strip of snow-plowed land. So I sat down, pulled out the survey report again, and called my lawyer. "We're not settling," I told her. "We're going all the way." My lawyer filed the full complaint. Civil damages, harassment, property interference. We attached everything. Photos, timestamps, video footage. We even included a notarized statement from the original contractor confirming I'd paid the full cost of the driveway and that Marcus had never contributed. The court date was set for 3 months out. In the meantime, Marcus didn't stop. He doubled down. 2 weeks before the hearing, I came home and found survey flags ripped out of the ground. The markers my surveyor had placed to confirm the property line? Gone. Pulled, snapped, scattered. I replaced them, put in taller ones, cemented the bases. Next morning, gone again. So I stopped replacing them. Just photographed everything. Over and over. Date stamped. Then I noticed something else. He wasn't just messing with the property anymore. He'd started knocking on doors up and down the block. I caught him on camera talking to my neighbor across the street, the one with the old Ford in the driveway. A day later, that neighbor stopped waving when I drove by. He was trying to poison the well, make it so even if I won in court, I'd still lose on the block. The last straw came a week before court. I woke up and my truck was gone. I thought it was stolen. Called the police. Then I saw the tow notice. Illegally parked vehicle removed for blocking active construction site. He'd reported it. Lied to the city. Said my vehicle was blocking his workers. Cost me $350 to get it back. I showed up at the impound lot, handed over the cash, and drove straight to my lawyer's office. She looked at me, took a breath, and said, "This guy's trying to wear you down." I nodded. I already knew. But I also knew something else. When someone makes you feel small long enough, you either shrink or you push back. And I was done shrinking. The court date came. I sat there across from him, watched him avoid eye contact while his lawyer read his version of the story out loud like it meant something. We didn't settle. We didn't speak. The judge didn't give a final decision that day, but I knew we were close. Now I still live here. The gate's still up. The driveway's still mine. I walk past that spot every morning, and I think about how this all started with me just trying to fix something broken. He thought he could shut me out. But the thing is, once you see what someone's really like, what they're willing to do just to feel bigger, you never unsee it. And the truth is, even if I win, I'm not sure I'll ever feel at home here again.